was with her at the hospital, and the doctor finally said, it's time to go home and sleep. There's nothing more we can do. So Carol went on home, Bob came home, and she had a dream. And she told me this dream the next day. And she said, the dream was, I was sitting at the feet of Jesus, where she is now. And I asked him, why, Lord? Why? Why did you take him? I needed him for my husband. I needed him for my children. Why did you take him? And she said, Nellie, I don't remember what the Lord said. And I just visioned her, and she entered heaven. All of her babies, the two that lived just long enough to be named, and then her others. And they were all there ready to greet her, along with all her doggies. Yeah, so, but I remember my response, and my response was, that's so wise, Lord, so wise. And so, that's it.
She's wearing pearls, Carol.
Oh.
And Minnie. We're all kind of dressed in some ways. Like Pam and I did not plan this, but we're dressed in our horse garb just to represent her with her horses.
So I have a little bit of an interactive. If you take one and pass it around, even if you don't want one, you don't have to eat it, but just hold it, put it on your napkin, and you'll know why in just a minute. I need one for myself too. So thank you for bearing with me. I've loved by Carol since the day I was born. In fact, Carol cared for my brother while my mom and dad, Scott and Nancy, were at the hospital having me. Quickly taking it back to the beginning to where it all started. Almost 56 years ago, my parents loaded up their little apartment in Los Angeles and moved with their days-old little boy to their brand new house just down the street from here. They were the first to move into the neighborhood, and my mom would often tell the story of how when my dad went to work, it was just her and a newborn in a neighborhood just being built with no neighbors or friends. That would soon change when their first neighbors moved in. Another young couple with a little boy. Yep, Chuck, Carol, and Robbie. And that was the beginning of lifelong friendships and what I grew up knowing as my second family.
And then
I knew you'd fact check me, thank you. I didn't think she was, I thought we all came after, but that's okay. Carol was my bonus mom, and my life is full of memories with her. From her nurturing side when she held my hand while I threw up and almost fainted from a nasty cut I got on my leg while playing tag with Amy and Steph, to her fun side, when she would drive all us kids in her old blue station wagon back and forth over the Dana dips before they ruined them by putting in stop signs. All windows down, no seatbelts, Amy, Steph, and I in the far back, backward-facing seat, and Robbie in the front seat, cheering her on to go faster, which she did. Probably not the safest, but one of the best memories of my childhood. Carol was an amazing listener. As young teenage girls, Amy, Steph, and I were blessed to have moms who encouraged us to talk to them about anything. Little did they know what they opened themselves up for when we all went to Forest Home for a mother-daughter retreat. We took the opportunity to grill them on every question a teenage girl could have. Just us in our cabin on our bunk beds laughing and gasping late into the night. The next morning, as we were loading our car to leave, two moms with very young daughters came out of the cabin next door, which shared a common wall with us. They said, sure sounded like you had fun last night. Of course, Amy, Steph, and I jumped in the car absolutely mortified, while Carol and my mom went over and apologized for how loud we were. The young mom said that their girls went to bed early and heard nothing, but they heard everything. And could only pray that when their girls were our age, they would talk as open and honest as we did. We truly were blessed with the best moms ever. Throughout the years, Carol had many passions she pursued. From her running years, to her devotion to her horses, to her love of gardening. But nothing was more important to her than her faith in and love of Jesus. As we all know, Carol endured more heartbreak and pain than any person should ever have to, yet never once did she waver in her faith. I have always held tight in my heart a conversation Carol and I had the day after Steph died. I was mad and crying, and I said, why did God do this to us? And Carol ever so gently said, he did not do this to us. God is sad and mad too. She then told me how on the night before she was sitting on the steps of Steph's apartment in the middle of a storm in Arizona. She said, I was sitting on the steps angry and crying, and I could hear God's anger in the thunder. I could see it in the lightning, and I could feel his sadness in the rain. He cried over me. Unwavering faith she had. Carol's heart was filled with kindness, and she was so very thoughtful. About 10 years ago, I unexpectedly received a gift in the mail, and the card read, Shannon, I'm acquainted with a lady that makes her own glass beads. When her sister died a year ago, she made beads which included some of her sister's ashes. Chuck and I gave her a bit of stuff and asked her to make us bracelets, and of course, some of them was for you. We would love this bracelet to bring you love and peace and a chance to laugh with her or growl at her, but mostly to bring you a new level of closeness to Steph. We loved her well. Love, Chuck and Carol. Here it was 25 years later, and she was still finding ways to heal my heart. Between last May and her passing in October, I was lucky enough to make 3 trips to see Carol and Chuck. I don't know what was more miraculous, that I was able to get that much time off of work or that Chuck was open to me coming. We all know he is a man of few words who values his privacy. On my first trip, I treaded ever so lightly. I simply offered a quick drive-by with a breakfast sandwich, but made it absolutely clear there was no pressure if he wasn't up for it. He accepted. What I thought would be a quick visit ended up being 3 hours. We sat in the living room, which has the most beautiful and peaceful ocean view with wild deer cruising through their backyard, reminiscing on stories which made us laugh and cry. On my second trip, I offered the same, quick drive-by with a breakfast sandwich. And again, 3 hours later, we were still talking. He mentioned he had a doctor's appointment the next day, so I offered to drive him. He quickly declined. I told him if he changed his mind to just let me know. That afternoon, I received a text from him saying, if the offer still stands, I think I'll take you up on the ride tomorrow. I was sitting with Carol when I received the text, and I couldn't help but share with excitement, Chuck is letting me drive him to the doctor tomorrow. She too was amazed and said, wow. By the third trip, we were going out to breakfast, running errands together, and even taking a fun drive on the beach. I love that man and look forward to more trips with him. My recent visits with Carol will be time I will treasure forever. I was incredibly blessed to have experienced more of her good days than bad with her. We spent endless hours hanging in the hall, watching people come and go. She loved to watch all the action. We sat outside every chance we got. When the sun was out and shining, she loved the warmth on her face. We relaxed in her room. She loved to use me as her foot cushion. We listened to music. She loved worship music and country music too. We looked at old pictures together. We laughed and we cried. We did all these things while enjoying her new obsession, chocolate donuts. As a lover of chocolate donuts myself, I was totally on board. We found ourselves doing a celebratory cheer before popping a donut. Oh. We soon found a reason to cheers for everything. And boy, did we laugh every time we did. So, in honor of celebrating a life well lived, if you could please raise your donut to Carol Francis.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Yeah, I met Carol 40 years ago. I think I was 13 or 17. She was my best friend. And when she passed away, Carol and I would continue to talk. I would check in with her September 4th, April 11th, every time, through text or...
I'm Krista Risbrut.
Salazar.
Salazar, but I'm probably known as a Risbrut. So healing to be here. Carol was a connector, a kingdom ripple maker, uninhibited, bold. And I did write a little something. And we know each other from, there's so many of you that knew me when I was little, including Carol, and I share a very same path with born and raised with Steph too. Carol was Like a second mom to me, she was fun, warm, and always ready with a hug and a laugh. Being around her felt like home. When I was little, I was notorious for packing clothes in my backpack that I preferred over what Mom had picked out for me. I'd change in the back of Carol's car during carpool. And she would always promise she never saw a thing. She would never tell me no. That was Carol. Safe, loyal, on your team. Stephanie was such a treasure in my life, with joy as well. From childhood with Robbie, Amy, Steph at Orange Coast Christian School, high school volleyball sleepovers, after school hangs, into early adulthood, losing her devastated me. Every year on Stephanie's anniversary with Jesus, Carol and I would reach out to each other and reminisce about Steph biting her tongue to the side when she was concentrating, her incredible laugh, her amazing smile, all the beautiful little things we loved about Steph. Those conversations meant so much. She brought excellence, warmth, and loyalty not only to her friendships, but also to her work in my dad's office, caring for patients and supporting the practice with such integrity, along with Oisley and many others. Carol also held space for me during some of the hardest seasons of my life. After my dad left our family, she allowed me to feel seen, known, and heard. She was a confidant, prayer warrior, cheering me on through heartbreak. I smile about her watching the dog show with my mom on the phone. About how she inspired my growing cowgirl hat collection and my love for horses, gardening, and home. I always admire her deeply rooted marriage to Chuck. Steady, faithful, strong. Carol was present. She never made you feel rushed. When you were with her, you mattered. She was a light. I've missed her deeply. Her conversations, her wisdom, her texts, her being a sounding board, and now walking the journey of dementia with my own mom. I understand even more the layers of grief that come along with loving someone through that. Carol, I love you. Thank you for being home to me. I also think about her quilting and that, behind the quilt are all these frayed edges. Eric, my brother, traveled a road of frayed edges, and I think we all have our hurts and our hang-ups, but she never once wavered to point you towards Jesus, and she was such a kingdom ripple maker, uninhibited, and so many fun memories, and just talks like, wow, I've now returned back home to San Clemente, and I run into so many of you, and it's like home. My husband and I decided to secure a little beach house a couple years back, and I decided this is home for Mom, and it's the right thing to do to stay close to her where all of these lifers are in her life. And the advocacy and the stories and the people and the visits, and Mom's long-term memory is just like that. She would know each one of you in specific stories. And it's been so healing to be back. It's been about a year and a half full time in San Clemente, and my husband has been a valiant warrior to do a really hefty commute. He's a kinesiology professor and a head baseball coach at Rio Hondo College. I've since gone into the senior living industry because it's my mess. It's now my message to walk us with families, with dignity, and with joy. And I couldn't say enough about the impact and the sustainability and the consistency and the showing up. It's just been amazing. And you were a huge piece. We reached out on on Facebook a couple times. And just to know that you just were like, I'm there, I'm going, I'm going.
You didn't have a choice.
I'm going and shot. I was like, oh, yeah. Because, you know, we were all in conversation. I think we were all seeing the signs, but the beauty of your connection in all of us is where we now ripple out and we keep the conversation going, and that impact. You know, we're not just meant to be here to exist. We're meant to be kingdom ripple makers, and it's just it's beautiful. And I'm reminded of when we celebrated Yo, and reminded how the Lord brought your precious glory. And then they welcomed me in their home. And I mean, I could stop in at any one of your places and just feel like, come here. This is my historian, Nubby. Hey, Nubby, what streets did I grow up on? Trafalgar. The memory here. And you know, we'll look through albums and the cloth and the hair
And so I'll let others share, but those are some of the secret things.
I too met Carol at Ocean Hills Church, and she was really good friends with Yo, so I think that was the last time I saw her was at Hills.
Well, I met Carol at First Chapel way back when, and I just, Nubby and Carol, when my husband and I got married, they were our wedding coordinators. And now I realize that people spend thousands of dollars for a wedding coordinator. I never even thought to pay you guys. It was just,
Never too late.
but anyway, well, Carol was my adventure buddy. She was always up for something when she got involved in horseback trips. I'm sitting here, I don't know why, but I remember her hands. Something about her hands.
I remember when Chuck had a bicycle when he was a bike rider, and that's what I did back then. I remember that we got to know each other pretty well then, and we came down to Mexico. So that we had a son who was young then. I said, but we can't control him. I don't know what to do. But we feel so sorry for you losing your son. And remember what she said?
It's harder to go through what we went through with our son than to lose one, because you know where they are.
That's what she said to me. That stayed with me forever.
I met Carol, we met Chuck and Carol at Ocean Hills. And I just remember Carol, we went through a lot of years with the prodigal son. And I was supposed to host a women's thing at table. You know how we do the table and set it all up and everything. And I went to leave and our car was gone. And Steve had stolen my car. And I got a hold of Carol because she was overseeing everything, and Carol said, you get here because you'll be serving, you won't be thinking of, and I was a wreck. I mean, I was crying, I was so mad at Steve, and she said, I want you to come, get a ride, and do what you're gonna do because it'll help you. And I did, and it helped me. But I thought about Carol encouraging me to keep calm and carry on.
So I guess Robbie was 17 when he died, and I wrote a poem, so I must have been 12 or 13 when I wrote it. And I left it at their house when they had their little service, and I left it right next to the guest book where you signed it, and it was just this little kid. And I know it blessed her because she put it in a little shadow box and mementos around it. So that's my connection. I don't have those poems anymore, they're lost somewhere. I find them, but anyone comes across that poem to see it, but yeah. And Never taught me how to make cookies, and just there's so much love in this room. And I know you guys are the close ones, because I'm the generation behind.
Real quick, I want to tell you a little story. use Barker to my memory because it was at Robbie's, after the service at her house. A lot of us went over. Kay Barker was in the kitchen with me, and she was making beer chili. Does anyone have that recipe for beer chili? The best chili. And somebody, and you may be here, so forgive me, but somebody came up to me and said, "Hi, honey, what's your name? And how do you know Carol?" And I said, "Well, I'm Oisie, I'm her best friend." And Kay Barker goes, "Sorry, I'm her best friend." And then Melissa, who was at the pantry, goes, "Nobody has it over me." Yeah. So it was so funny, and that's what I'm hearing her here. We were all best friends to Carol.
I have to interject something here. I came across something that was written about girlfriends, and it was given to a newly married girl by her new sister-in-law. And her first sentence to her new sister-in-law was, "Get girlfriends, because you're going to need them." And I thought, when I read this, she said, "Why would I need girlfriends? I just got married." And she said, "Believe me, you're going to need girlfriends."
When you need each other the most.
And she said, it goes on that they bring you casseroles, they'll come and clean your house, they'll give a baby shower, whether they're married or not. And she just went down the list of the importance of girlfriends. So everybody here, I know, has a girlfriend, and their best girlfriend was Carol. And we all feel that way because that's the way Carol was.
Got to meet her through you. And if there's one thing I would take as a takeaway from today, it sounds like she really loved the Lord, and that the Lord used her to touch you all in a very special way.
So Carol was just an incredible friend to my Carol. And she recruited many of you girls to come and be Carol's friend. You know, she was always there, and she was like recruiting everyone. And it was just amazing how she could be such a everywhere and every place. And I remember when Robbie died, and that was the first. I'd never done a funeral, and when I gave an altar call, he raised his hand and he started crying. Chuck came up to me afterwards and he said,
Remember your room.
"What?"
Remember the room you're in.
What's your language?
Because I've heard the story about 10 times.
Just a lot of wonderful things. It's all stopped.
Carol was like my mom. She was my mom's best friend. And she made sure, one thing I'm so grateful for, she made sure my mom looked good. My mom looked good.
My brother Bob was in Believer's Chapel, and he introduced me to Oisie and Carol and the gang. So, late 70s, early 80s, and I ended up being Carol's hairdresser. Whenever you saw her with a fresh perm, that was me. That was the 80s.
Jim and I were the only Christians in San Clemente in the 70s that did not go to Believer's Chapel. But anyways, but then we met them shortly after in the 80s at Ocean Hills and Orange Coast Christian School. Eric and Amy. And then we also did the Otis Junior campouts with them, and that's where our son headed it, Carol, and her new patio there. And so she was just a joy. We loved her.
I know who Carol was, because she was Chuck's wife. And we had a chance to spend some time with them while we were in a motorhome going up the coast. And it was always a neat time together with them. Remember that. My memory is not so much of Carol, but it is of Chuck, and spending time with them. Just, and I've got nothing more to say.
Well, like I said, Carol and Chuck moved in across the street from us in 71 or early 72. And we became, I mean, it hadn't been a week that they had lived there. And Carol came over knocking on my door and she asked me, do you have an OB-GYN doctor? And I couldn't believe the next sentence that she said. But she said, I think I'm pregnant and I'm not supposed to be. And I gave her my doctor, Dr. Harper. I gave her his name. She went right away. And 2 days later, she came back over to my house and she said, I'm pregnant. She told me the story that a lot of us know of the past pregnancies. And Dr. Harper thinks he can bring this pregnancy to term if I go to bed today and I stay in bed for 6 months. I get to go to the restroom and I get to have a 5-minute shower 1 day a week. And Robbie and Amy cannot live in the house. The kids have to be gone.
So up to their they needed to go stay with their grandparents.
They stay with grandma and
It's a little
grandpa.
much having little kids, so they did.
Who, grandma was, they were in Washington. Can you imagine being called and say, you need to take your 2 grandchildren for 6 months? And the grandparents said, if we can put them in daycare every day, all day, we will do it. They were not happy that Carol was pregnant. And so anyway, that's how that went. My husband helped Chuck go rearrange the furniture in their house and move their bed into the family room and TV there. And there she was. She'd only lived in the house for a couple of months. So Chuck came up to me and handed me the key to their front door. And you know what his hours were. He was LAPD. And so he's gone at least 12 hours. And then my husband was a pharmacist and he worked a lot of nights till 9 o'clock. So needless to say, I spent a lot of time. I just had one child and he was a year old. And I would go over and just do what any of you ladies would do. Take some food over, see what she wanted, see what she needed. Thank the Lord she knit and crocheted, and she taught me to do both of those. And we watched soap opera after soap opera. And at like 6 months, 7 months, Dr. Harper said, we're putting you in the hospital and you're going to lay with your head lower than the rest of your body until it's time to induce labor. That was a biggie. That was really a biggie. But she did it. She did it and she never complained once. So they induced labor. One of this time, everything went as smooth as could be, and Stephanie was going. That's how I met Carol.
Wow, that's amazing.
So then Stephanie and Shannon, they were, a year or 2 apart. And when you said about the car, it's a Volvo station wagon. I had Shannon by then. We put all 5 kids in the back of the Volvo station wagon. And Carol would always just say, Robbie, give her a bottle. Give her a bottle. We had 5 kids, no seatbelts, like you said, no seatbelts, no car seats, no nothing. Who knew where we were going? We were going to McDonald's or we were going, but yeah, you can't take away this 6 months that I had the key to Carol's front door.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
You get to meet best friend.
Yeah, but we all knew Stephanie always, and Stephanie knew it well, that she was considered a miracle baby. She held it over all of her. I'm the miracle baby. No, we know you are. We know you
are. You know, our experience, my experience really with Chuck, Carol had to do with Ocean Hills. Ocean Hills was a melting pot of all the great ones that are sitting here. We all have amazing experiences at Ocean Hills. It was God's little acre, and you know, it was our first moving from the Midwest here. Was really our first church, and so Carol and Chuck were a part of it. Thank you for it, but Bonnie can speak more in detail with Carol's relationship.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's do this together. You're already in trouble because we were late.
I know you did this. So
We're so good.
I was a brand new Christian, and somehow my friend invited me to this little church believers chapel, and I went, and
It was a boy meeting.
well, I didn't know you were there yet. A week later, I found out he was going there. Anyway, and then I had an interest in him, and vice versa. Anyway, Carol was probably one of the first people I met there, and she was just always positive and encouraging. And then I was sort of the sporty one, so we were on a softball team together.
Susie.
I've got pictures, Susie.
10 speeders.
Susie.
We were on several different teams.
Oh my gosh, pass that around.
The Ocean Hills Pearls, eventually.
No, 10 speeders. We were
10
the 10
speeders. Oh yeah, Noisey's in here too.
Oh, I got pictures of you. Just wait.
And then
Oh,
we
yeah.
went camping, and I think Nubby, Annie, Carol, and myself.
Oh, I can see her. Oh,
We
yeah.
were the horseshoe champions.
Wait, tell them what you're wearing.
Oh, nothing. But the most challenging thing with Carol and other people was our horse trip. And it was up Angel's Flight. Where's Nancy?
Oh, we did.
Yeah. We held on to each other and screamed. Going up out of June Lakes up to the meadow area. And I remember seeing Carol galloping along. Just no problem. We're like, what did we do?
Brad Hanson.
So I met Carol at Believers Chapel. Our kids went to school together. My daughter Jo was very close to Stephanie, and Carol and called my wife a girlfriend too. It's like she called you girlfriend. And I think about Carol, she never had an unkind word to say about anybody. I was going to bring a picture. My favorite picture was I actually sent Yo up there to Ocean Shores on her own, gave her a ticket. And the picture I have is her and Carol sitting on rocking chairs in their front of the little house in Ocean Shores. It's a beautiful picture. But just one snapshot of what I was thinking about is Carol worked for me. I started a little company, and she was my office manager. And you remember when they built those Mira Loma homes above San Juan Hills, Glendale Fed? So my wife and I wanted to buy one. And so instead of Carol working on my business, I had her develop a relationship with Glendale Federal at the office, because that's when everybody's buying homes. It was crazy. They said you can't show up until Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, she spent 3 months, and she got to be best friends with the people at Glendale Federal. So she came down, she said, get your dad's RV and show up at midnight tonight. So I got with Gary Clampett. We showed up at midnight, and Gary bought the first house, I bought the second house because of Carol. She was a tired lady, and she was sweet. This is my wife, Lori, by the way. A lot of you don't know this. Lori, we were married 11 years.
Susie.
Who's in
Me.
Wait,
Do
did you want to share?
you want to share anything about Carol?
Oh, I'm having a hard time hearing, and I'm also losing what I thought I might say.
Yeah.
Good.
But I've enjoyed this so much. What a wonderful gathering. What a tribute to Carol. She's smiling up there. And
Yeah,
everything.
she is.
So, it was fall. The aspen trees were in full glory, their blazing colors on fire. Carol Francis and I were mounted on our trusted painted ponies, she on Design and I on Roper. We rode to the top of the hill overlooking my pasture and corrals, stood looking down in awe and deep gratitude as we would find ourselves reflecting every day living in Aspendale together. She turned to me and asked how I knew Jesus. We had been friends for many years, and that was the moment God put upon her heart to open me up.
I'd like to open first by saying thank you on behalf of all the guys that are here. We heard this was all going to be chicks, right? So I think I can speak for all the guys. Thank you.
I say thank you too. I would have been by myself.
to cut to Chuck and Carol, Guns N' Roses. Shooting with Chuck and gardening with Carol. We met under the high tension wires.
So I met Carol at a Pirelli horsemanship clinic in 1988, and I'm really from her, really. You guys know her so much longer, but she had brought Design to this clinic, and she rode her from our farms over there, and she's
Super quick, I've never met Carol, but I know her. I know her through him, and I know her through her, and I know her through him. And I just can't wait till that day comes when I get to see her in person and say thank you. My good people.
And Suzanne is my daughter-in-law, our daughter-in-law, and she made the invitation and the program.
And we'll be best friends.
Yeah.
I hear that a lot in this group. I'm pretty sure we'll be best friends.
Okay, Ian.
Yeah, so Carol was Aunt Carol to me. She was like the non-blood aunt that a lot of us get to have. But the main thing I remember about Carol is just what she did for my mom. How she was that like rock for my mom. Like when she needed something, she was there. And that's, that's what I remember most about her. It's just her getting nature and just being such a steady person and going through so much tragedy. But like we've talked about, like God forbid one of our children, something tragic happens. Like how would we react? Like I'm like, I don't know if I can even go on. And yet she went on and she gave all of us strength through her tragedy. And that is just an attribute not many people have.
Dad, I got a text from Shannon when she was with Carol. She said she wants to talk to you. Where are you? And I immediately called her. I said, I'm right here. And she said she's coherent. She wants to talk to you. And we got to say goodbye. And she said, girlfriend, I want you to know one thing, how much my friendship with you has meant to me, how much I love you. And that was it, right? That was it. And I got to say I love you too. But having that closure, my baby, having that closure with her was everything, because I hadn't talked to her for a year. And it was killing me not to be able to go up there, but I really was trying to do what Chuck wanted. And I figured that Carol didn't want me to see her that way. She didn't want me to see her with, whatever, and I had to go with that. And I would ask Debbie, do we just stay down here? And she said, yes, you do what Chuck says. So when Shannon went up there, I was so grateful. And Shannon said to me, did I do wrong? I went, no, are you kidding? Look how Chuck is opening up to you. You were like a child, one of his kids. So you gave that back to him. So I'm going to have Doug not film anymore, and actually, there is a song that Doug wrote for Chuck and Carol called Stephanie's Song. And he wrote this for her right after, well, actually it was for Stephanie's service. And we didn't practice it on this piano much. I don't even know if you did, Doug. Did you practice it? But he's going to clink through it because I don't even know if the piano's in tune. We don't know, but it doesn't matter, right? It's just because it's the words. Carol and Chuck loved this song, and the words in it meant so much because when you hear Doug say, "I'll see you again," those were Chuck's words. Because he would say to us after Robbie died, he said, "It's no biggie. I'm going to see him again." That faith that those two had was far beyond what I could even fathom for myself.
Empty room, voices in the hall, vacant chairs, pictures on the wall, the whisper of the wind, the sunlight moving across the floor. Thoughts of you are never very far. Thoughts of you, I hold them in my heart. I never will forget the way you came and touched my life. I'll see you again. What a joy that will be, see you again. The separation lasts for just a time, and then it's gone. I know it won't be long. I know I'll see you again. You have changed me. You gave such joy to me, and now without you I don't know who to be, but what you left behind is love to last beyond all time. I remember sometimes it makes me cry, the music of your voice and the laughter in your eye, the way you looked at me the last time